this poem that she wrote in German. So I'll say it in English first. It's, when a bluebird you see in a nearby tree, put on a smile just for me. So I did my best to translate it into German, and it sounds something like this. It's Wann ein Hüttensanger herein ein Baum gesen dich, ein Lackeln angemesser gelegt für mich, is what it is in German.
All right, so my mom picked out some things that she wanted Christine and Bonnie and I to read. And one thing that we thought would be good is to hike the Bluebird Trail. This is a poem that she wrote years ago, and as you know, she started doing all the bluebird trails and everything back in the 80s. And so I was only about 5 years old and would go on the trails hiking with her. And so she wrote this poem, and I thought it was very fitting to read today. So the poem is titled To Hike the Bluebird Trail by Carol Jean McDaniel. How many times have I left my chores to hike the Bluebird Trail? With laundry in heaps and dishes in piles, I'd check each house and walk for miles. It gave me health, good thoughts, and smiles to hike the Bluebird Trail. How many times was I up at dawn to hike the Bluebird Trail? With breakfast packed and binoculars set, I'd crawl through the fences and get my shoes wet. The more duties I had, the more reasons I'd get to hike the Bluebird Trail. How many times has my family gone to hike the Bluebird Trail? With record book ready, screwdriver in hand, we'd walk with each other and scour the land. In search of a bluebird, we'd talk, laugh, it was grand to hike the Bluebird Trail. How many times have my good friends come to hike the Bluebird Trail? As old as 80, as young as 3, all straining their eyes for a bluebird to see. Dear Lord, don't take this chance from me to hike the Bluebird Trail. So that is a poem that she wrote. It was beautiful, and we have so many memories, all of us kids, and then our kids, and it's something that will always live on, and we always have our bluebird real close to our hearts. Bonnie made these bluebird necklaces, which is just so wonderful. She's touched our lives in so many ways. The one thing, my kids are going to be playing a song called Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And before we do that, though, I just have to find what I needed to do next. So after my mom passed away, I was kind of looking for signs from her, and maybe you think that's a little odd, but I was looking for them. And the one day, I went outside early in the morning, and we had bluebirds hatching in our boxes. So I went out to check the bluebird houses. And I went outside, and years ago, my mom gave me iris, these beautiful purple iris. And I'm sure she gave me the white iris as well, but the odd thing about it was out in our front area, it was all lined with purple iris, and alongside the row was all purple iris, but right by our front door was one white iris. And it just took me by surprise. I just thought it was the neatest thing, and I thought, okay, that has to be a sign. That has to be a sign from Mom. And so I went inside and I told Todd about it, and then I started looking up the name of the iris because I wanted to know what the purple iris was actually called. I'm sure there's something that it's called other than purple iris. And so when I was doing my search, what I thought was so interesting was that in Greek, the name iris translates as rainbow. And also, iris beginning with the letter E, which means messenger. And so there was a Greek goddess named Iris who delivered messages from the gods. She would travel along rainbows as she moved between heaven and earth, which explains the definition of rainbow. The goddess Iris escorted the deceased from earth to heaven, giving them their final destination. The association of irises and the afterlife became so entrenched in Greek culture that individuals would plant irises as a sign to the goddess Iris, calling her to come and escort their loved ones to the afterlife. So when Todd and I first moved into our home, you know, we planted the iris, she gave us all those iris, and then it just kind of came full circle, and it was just a really neat moment. And then, you know, we were trying to think of a song or something that the kids could do. I thought about iris and the rainbow, and I thought, okay, somewhere over the rainbow where bluebirds fly is what it is. So Courtney has been, when Courtney comes, and Cole and I and Todd, when we come to the house, you know, Courtney likes to play tunes on the piano, and so she's been practicing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And Cole just started playing the trumpet this year. He's had a couple lessons, and so he's been practicing with that too. So they're gonna do a little song. If you guys are still up for it, are you still up for it? Okay. There's a lot of people. Okay, so Courtney was gonna go first. So we can want to get set up over here, hon. And if you make a mistake, just start over and try it again. All good, okay?
Tammy, there's one thing I'd like to clarify.
Yes.
The screwdriver in hand was not an orange socket.
Oh.
It was an actual tool to open up the bird.
Right. Okay, go ahead. So while Cole's getting set up, I used to play the trumpet. I actually played my Uncle Bill's trumpet that he had, and my mom always encouraged his kids to do something musically, and so that kind of has lived on in me and as well. And it's kind of neat to see him pick up the trumpet too and learn to play an instrument. Go ahead. Next up is Christine.
I brought the Kleenex just in case.
Okay.
Here, okay? No.
Okay.
Okay. So it's good that we're all here together today, and thank you so much everyone for coming and taking time to be here. My mom would be very happy to know that you're all here. So after all, this was her wish. She loved getting together with her family, and especially loved it when we would sing together. Her last wishes were very specific, just like my dad said, as to whom would do what. She even mentioned that she had written what she wanted for each of us kids to say today. However, as far as we know, she did not have time to write these words for us. And so we were left trying to postulate what she would like us to say. As I prepared for today, I found a memory book that she gave me 25 years ago called To My Daughter with Love. In that, she wrote down special memories, and as I perused it, I found a page that mentioned her favorite words. She wrote, "How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. Do the things you think you cannot do. Any fool can cut a tree. Home is where the heart is, and bluebird of happiness. Oh, and put on a happy face. I would like to share that poem with you and shed a little light on why I think it was her favorite. How Do I Love Thee? A poem by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depth and height and breadth my soul can reach when feeling out of sight, for the ends of being an ideal grace. I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need, by sun and candlelight. I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs and with my childhood's faiths. I love thee with a love I seem to lose with my lost saints. Through all the ups and downs of life, there was always one thing that was constant in my world. That was steadfast, unwavering. And that was my mother's resolute love for me, for my siblings, and my family in its entirety. She valued and loved her family more than anything else in the world. She constantly was making things for others: pajamas, doll dresses, t-shirt blankets, curtains. She spent her days preparing family dinners, especially fancy holiday ones. I remember one year she served each of us Cornish hen and flaming figgy pudding on Christmas Day. She enjoyed doing things for others and being involved in Bluebird organizations. She filled her world with the people she loved. She could always find a way to persevere through any challenge. Usually that involved getting up at the crack of dawn, or like she sometimes said, getting up with the chickens. It was her belief in the power of love that kept her strong. A respected friend once told me, mothers teach us everything we know about life, but they don't teach us how to live without them. As I read the last words in her favorite poem, it said, I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears, all my life. And if God choose, I shall love thee better after death. How comforting is that? I think that my mom subtly, with her amazing grace, taught us how to live without her. She taught us how to love. So Mom, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee with undying, infinite, steadfast love. I love thee for the lessons, the memories, the precious time you spent with me. You have taught me that home is truly where the heart is, to love the bluebird of happiness, and above all, to put on a happy face. I can never be the incredible person that you were, but I can live my life, indeed, with that endeavor. Thank you, Mom. Okay, so now we're going to hear from Emma and Bridget, because Mom had a song that she loved, and she watched the show Hamilton several times, and this is one of the songs from Hamilton. And so I guess that's yeah.
I didn't know that she was going to say that, but when Carol and I go to each other back in 1965, there was somebody in my grandparents' house down on Howard Street, where Scott Zwicki lives now, and there was a book of poems. How I love thee. I go over there and she's hot. She's what you wanted. And you take home. There's the poem book by Elizabeth Barrett. And she liked it. And I made toys out of it when I was growing up.
That's a favorite poem, right?
Yeah.
Good point. So we're all
yeah, like Grandma said in her last wishes, she wanted us to sing "You'll Be Back" from Hamilton. Every time that we would come here, she'd ask us to sing that song for her. So hopefully you can hear this. You say the price of my love's not a price that you're willing to pay. You cry in your tea, which you hurl in the sea when you see me go by. Why so sad? Remember we made an arrangement when you went away. Now you're making me mad. Remember, despite our estrangement, I'm your man. You'll be back, soon you'll see. You'll remember you belong to me. You'll be back, time will tell. You'll remember that I served you well. Oceans rise, empires fall. We have seen each other through it all. And when push comes to shove, I will send a fully armed battalion to remind you of my love. Da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da. You say our love is raining and you can't go on. You'll be the one complaining when I am gone. And no, don't change the subject, 'cause you're my favorite subject. My sweet, submissive subject. My loyal, royal subject. Forever and ever. And ever and ever and ever. You'll be back like before. I will fight the fight and win the war. For your love, for your praise. And I'll love you till my dying days. When you're gone, I'll go mad. So don't throw away this thing we had. 'Cause when push comes to shove, I will kill your friends and family to remind you of my love. Da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da. Everybody. Da 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 da, 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 da 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 da,
So I guess we got one more song for you. As a group here. When I get where I'm going, on the far side of the sky, the first thing that I'm gonna do is spread my wings and fly. I'm gonna land beside a bluebird, and I know just what I'll do. I'll sit with it and talk a while, 'cause I've always wanted to. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will share all these struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. I'm gonna walk with Mom and Dad, and they'll match me step for step. And I'll tell them how I miss them every minute since they left. And I'll hug their neck, yeah, when I get where I'm going. There'll be only happy tears. I will share all these struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, but when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. Hallelujah. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, yeah, when I get where I'm going. Everybody help us out. Yeah, when I get where I'm going. One more time for Mom. Yeah, when I get where I'm going.
All right, everyone. So thank you so much for coming today. And with her request, what we would like you to do is just to take a moment here to just bow your head, and we're going to have a moment of silence and just remember her and all her beauty. And then with my lead, we're going to walk outside and form a circle, and in silence we will raise our hands and release her spirit. So as we walk out, we'll just quietly make our way out, and I'll begin the circle outside, and if we could just all join hands as you feel comfortable, and then with our lead we'll put our hands up and release her spirit. Follow me, please.